There we go.
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Yay.
Hey,
How are
John.
you?
Yeah,
Hi.
hi. So I just got done talking to Don Preston, and
Echo.
yeah, and I'm happy to speak to you about your Zappafest.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know
Yeah.
you're well, and you're probably spent doing more interesting interviews like with Don Preston than myself, but
Oh no, everything in the Zappa world is important, in my opinion. We got to keep the music alive and spread the word.
it's true. I think this event is even more important because it involves a very close friend of ours. I'm talking about this guy right here.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Ike. I love Ike. I talked to him tonight too.
Well,
So
that's great.
is
That's
he gonna
awesome.
is he
Very
gonna
close.
come out to your festival? Sorry.
Right. So, for those of you out there who are unaware of what Milwaukee Zappafest is all about, it is the longest running Frank Zappa tribute concert in America. And we're only second in the world behind that big one in Germany known as Zappa.
Zappanella.
Yeah.
Zappanella. Yep.
Uh, so, in the last 23 years, every year in Milwaukee, we have this event. And basically, it is a collaboration of musicians in the local Milwaukee area, all around Wisconsin, and sometimes even across state lines like Illinois, Michigan, Minnesota, get together and perform the music of Frank Zappa.
Wow.
And over the years,
I
it's
want to come.
been, oh, yeah, I mean, anyone's welcome. And, for a lot of people out there who are going, hey, this has been going on for 23 years. How come I don't know about it? Well, there's a good reason. We are kind of, unlike Zappanelle, we are very independently funded. So it's a very local thing. It's not a multi-day event where you can camp out in Milwaukee and, see a multitude of Zappa stuff. And we would love to have that. I mean, Milwaukee's very good in the summertime for, camping, grilling, drinking barley pop and all that fun stuff. But it's really more just kind of like, a local thing. And so in the early years, we kind of kept things a little more hush hush to the local region because, well, when Gail was alive, there was kind of that imminent threat of, if we make ourselves too well known, she might try to come in and stop the fun. We know she tried that in Germany. Luckily, they were able to prevail, but we didn't feel like we necessarily had the firepower to stave off any kind of attack from her. But in the post-Gale years, we've kind of brought our heads out a little bit, I think more from hiding and made people more aware of what we are. I want to say in 2008, I was able to jump on this fun merry-go-round. And being a big Zappa fan myself, growing up loving Frank Zappa, I'm a musician as well. So when I started really kind of applying my love for Zappa to my, musician skills, it really was this, it's like all my crazy musical universes were coming together in this awesome combination. And we knew about Zappa Fest. We didn't know anybody involved with it, and my drummer was able to meet one of the members of one of the bands and said, hey, like, me and my friends, we love Zappa, can we maybe get in on this? So we were able to get our foot in the door one year, and we did, I think we were just like a 4-piece lineup, and we did a pretty modest set list, but it involved things like, Broken Hearts Are for Assholes and Titties and Beer, and we closed with Muffin Man, which subsequently became our closing song for the next, 12 years and whatnot. But just to get our foot in the door, that was a big thing. And about 3 years into that, there was kind of a changing of the guard. Some of the longer tenured bands who had been running it kind of run out of gas. Some of them kind of disbanded. and Zappafest was in real danger of not continuing. So some of the other people who were involved just really didn't have the time to try and keep it going, and kind of looked at me and said, well, hey, hey man, if you got the time and the gumption and you want to try to put this together, like, have at it. And for me, it was kind of like, hey man, this is a pretty important thing. This is pretty cool. I'm just finally getting into this. This is like, my third time around. Every year I get a better band. Every year we take on crazier and crazier songs. Like, this can't stop now. So I kind of took the reins and kind of quickly organized a Zappafest for that year. We pulled it off, and then after that, it kind of became more of like, okay, and instead of just trying to keep this thing continuing, what can we do to make it better? And some of the more longer tenured elders of Zappafest and I have always talked about in the past, hey, what if, why can't we, there's plenty of guys out there who've performed with Zappa. They're still alive, still out there playing. What if we got one to come join us? And Ike was always probably the easiest consideration, because he's the one who we've seen the most as far as Zappa alumni who tour abroad. Ike would always come to Milwaukee almost yearly. If he was on tour, he would definitely come to Milwaukee. Sometimes he'd be here even twice a year. I see him a lot of times with Project Object in the past. And so I think they always just kind of put the idea in our head, like, well, what if we got a hold of Ike Willis? What if we could get him for Zappafest? Could we afford it? Can we do this? We're just a bunch of, again, this is just like going from just a local thing to like, hey, let's make this bigger. Let's grow.
Yeah.
And so I got the gumption one year, like, damn it, I'm going to go talk to Ike. Because, like I said, he comes around often enough. The guy's, in the pre-COVID world, we know he was a busy guy. He was always on the road. And the last time he came to I'm going to back up a little bit. A few years prior to that, he was touring on his own. He had his own band, and he was doing, I think he was called like the Ike Willis Project, I think even perhaps. Mm-hmm. Right. And so I went to go.
His wife Denise was in the band.
Right. It was really cool. I knew there was family members in that band and everything. Yeah. That was really kind of neat. So he played Milwaukee on a really cold Sunday nights, and it was a blizzard. And I, got my car and drove to the other side of town, and kind of in my 4-wheel drive Suburban kind of made a parcel.
Charging a cost a ton mile after mile.
Well, exactly. I wore this as a prop last year when we did Yellow Snow, and the nuke, rubs it. But it's also to give an indication that, yes, here in the Midwest, it does get pretty chilly. So, yeah, I kind of just like parked my Suburban on top of a snowbank and got inside and caught Ike. And it was really cool. That was a really cool set because, like I said, I'd seen him mostly with Project Object. To see him like play with like family members and with different kind of instrumentation and different, arrangements on some of the songs, it was really cool. So after the show was over, I approached Ike, introduced myself, and told him, about Milwaukee Zappafest. He had heard of it. He was aware of it. And I asked if he would, be willing to take part. And he was very interested. And so he gave me the contact info for his manager, Hank Woods. I'm sure you probably know Hank or have met him before. We love Hank. Hank's a great guy. Behind every great performer is a great manager, at least sometimes. In this case, there is, because Hank is such a cool guy, and he does a great job managing Hank and taking care of all the busy work and dirty stuff. And he lets Ike just worry about being Ike, which we know that's more than enough to, be, worried about. So, Hank's great. He's obviously a diehard Frank Zappa fan. Half the reason he does is because, he loves Ike for who he is as a musician, and, for being with Frank and whatnot. So I talked to Hank, and he's a very down to earth, approachable dude. So he kind of made it all seem like very. He helped make it make sense, because even though as a musician I've brought in out of town bands for various like things with like my heavy metal bands and whatnot, like this was something on a different level. This is like musical royalty as far as we're concerned. This is like Willis,
Yeah.
former member of Frank Zappa's band. So, Hank helped make it more of like a kind of down to earth, like personal scale, like, hey, yes, we can do this. And here are the conditions. And if we can work this all out, then hey, great. And yeah, luckily we did. And so we brought Ike in the first year for Zappafest in 2018. And it went fantastic. Ike basically sat in with my band. The band that I play in for Zappafest is called Gazordenplatt. And we had Ike sitting with us, and we did, about an hour and a half sets. And of course, we have this great, musical figure at our disposal. Like, let's get some of these classics in here. So of course we had him do, Why Does It Hurt When I Pee, and Stick It Out and stuff like that. So for us, it was just like a big treat. So I mean, this was like a dream come true. Like if you see my picture on, my profile picture on Facebook, it's a picture of me and Ike from that Zappafest. I've yet to find a picture to dethrone that one. So hopefully maybe this year that'll happen. But I mean, it was such a fantastic moment for us, the musicians who perform with Ike. And at this point now, Gazordenplatt over the last few years has been at steady about a 10 to 12 piece ensemble. So, to have a nice, like, group of musicians on stage with Ike performing these songs, it was such a treat for us, but especially for all the people who come out to this event every year. And it was for the 20th year as well. So it was a nice way to kind of celebrate that milestone. And Ike pretty much declared by the end of that night that hey, whether you like it or not, I'm here to stay now. I'm taking over this scene. I'm coming back. So that's exactly what we did. We brought him back in 2019, and things went pretty much just as well. We went to a different venue to try and get a larger attendance, and it kind of worked out. But sometimes when you try to go somewhere bigger, some other things don't work out as well. And whatever, lesson learned. But going into 2020, the whole plan was twice was nice, third time's a charm. Let's bring our buddy Ike back for a third time. Like, this is only getting better. We're getting more used to him. He's getting more used to us. We did a lot of fun stuff in 2019 with him. We were able to do wet t-shirt contest, which I know is one of your favorites and all of ours, of course. And so it was great to just keep growing that relationship on stage, and also just to get to know Ike. Like I've obviously known Ike through my CDs and my records most of my life, but get to actually know the guy, it's an honor, to be able to call him a friend.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart.
Yeah, and I know you two go way back, and it's just that's so cool that you've been able to see him like over all these years, and even join him on stage and see him throw that. I've only known the guy 4 years, and I feel like, wow, just the memories I had from those experiences feels like a lot. So
Is he coming this year to Zappafest?
he is absolutely coming to kind of merge where I was leaving off with. Going into 2020, we had, let's go, bring back Ike for the third time. And of course, the world got weird. Things couldn't happen that way, and it sucks. It was a bummer. But we were still determined to somehow keep Zappafest alive. We understood anyone else that couldn't do stuff. Like, we know Zappinelli had to cancel that year.
Yeah.
And that's, you know what I mean?
It's devastating.
Right. So we were like, well, what can we do? So there was a local production company in town. They're called Neverland Productions in Milwaukee here. And they do live stream concerts. And they were very much helpful during like the more dire times of the pandemic, live streaming shows. There's a local radio station called WMSC, and a former DJ named Jasper Toast was one of the people who invented Zappafest, 20 some years ago. And they're a station that's very synonymous with Zappafest. They help promote it. It's the only station in town you're going to hear Frank Zappa music. You can go to WMSC.org and you can listen to any of their shows. They have archives. You can listen live, all kinds of good stuff. There's a show called Radio Drill Time on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Central Time. And their opening theme song every week is Peaches on Rangalia. So you're guaranteed to hear Zappa at least once a week, but probably a lot more, because a lot of DJs have their own shows, and I would say at least half of them play Frank Zappa music. Oh. So they also, like I said, help us out very much with promoting the concert and whatnot. So we kind of heard of Neverland Productions through them. So we went to Neverland and they helped us live stream Zappafest last year on a closed set. And the real, like the kind of hidden gem of all of that was, in all the years prior to this, Zappafest was pretty much just a local thing. Like I said, people would come from the neighboring states, but outside of that, it was a local thing. Last year, we got to open the doors to anybody and everybody in the Zappa world, which is, as you know, a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
And so I kind of was able to promote it that way. And I got the word out, via the social media. And sure enough, we had a lot of people tune in last year from all over the world, from France. Some friends of mine in Italy watched, people in Australia. I mean, it was great. I have a friend in Thailand who watched it. And that was really cool, because now we got our name out to the rest of the Zappa world, like, cool. Hey, just so you know, here in Milwaukee, we do this little thing every year, and it's been going on for 20 plus years. Wow.
Amazing.
Right.
You must have heard of Zappaween that was happening in Florida, which is no longer exists.
Right. It seems like for over the years, there's been a few things that have lasted, maybe like 2-3 years consecutively. And it's hard to do that. It's hard to get that kind of thing together year in and year out. I mean, Milwaukee, obviously, is like kind of a, I guess, small, big city, and to be able to find musicians year in and year out who can dedicate their time and have the skill set, even just the interest to perform Frank Zappa music, that's no small feat. Which is why every year it's a different showcase. There's always different bands. Some bands come and go. Some bands are made up of members of prior bands and whatnot. So now that we've got everyone's attention, it kind of feels like now we have to keep everybody included. So to get back to what you originally asked about,
is this going to be live online again, or is it going to be an actual show?
So it's going to be a live show in Milwaukee at the venue we brought Ike to the very first time. It's in the neighborhood of Bayview in Milwaukee, where I live, and it's called Club Garibaldi's. But yes, it's also going to be live streamed by the same people who live streamed for us last year. So anybody and everybody can watch it again. It is free to watch too. And all that we ask. Sorry, what?
Absolutely free.
Free. But all we ask is that if you do tune in online, that you please give some contribution to Ike on any of his avenues of donation, between the GoFundMe that you have set up, which I've donated to before. And then also in that last interview with him, he mentioned
Cash App.
Yeah, that app that he has that goes directly to him. And I know you post the information for that. So thank you for doing that, by the way. But that's all we ask, is if you tune in online, please, that's what this is, I mean, like, this is almost in, kind of a way, it's like, it's bringing our friend back, and it's bringing Zappa Fest back to a live audience. But this is like almost effectively a fundraiser for our friend Ike,
Oh,
because
that's
we,
sweet.
well, because we love him. We need him around as long as possible, right? Exactly. So I mean, the whole live stream thing, it costs a bit, but it's like, here now is the opportunity to broadcast this again, like I said, to the rest of the Zappa world. And I know people know that Ike's had some, medical issues over the last year, but I don't think a lot of people know to the extent of what it is. And I think people who are going to watch this will probably, will get the idea, like, wow, he is alive. Hey, he's still battling his way out of this. Yes, I want to contribute. So we're really hoping that this year, like, we really hope that this, literally helps him survive and gets through this next, hopefully final months of battling his way, slaying this immense of cancer dragon that he so far has successfully done. But after watching your interviews with him, I've made it very well known that his medication is not cheap, and we hope that this really does actually help him get through the next few months.
And he also
So,
said that GoFundMe takes too long to pay him. They haven't had a payment come through since November 17th, and I've been trying to help him navigate. He and Denise, messaging GoFundMe and saying what's going on, and they're like, well, it's in Ike's name, but it's her bank account, so that's not supposed to be like that. And I don't know, he really does prefer Cash App, but people in Europe don't have Cash App,
oh
so
no,
that's why we have to have both options to help him. Plus, during the podcast I just had with Don Preston, Don also has prostate cancer, but he lives with it, and he takes one pill per day, and once a month he goes and gets a shot. So they're going to get together. Ike didn't know that. He didn't know that Don has prostate cancer. So now I'm going to do a group email with them, and Don's going to give Ike his doctor's information and the name of the pill that he's taking every day. And so we're going to try to, everything we can, we're going to try to keep him healthy. And I'm sure the local fans all around you want to come and see the show. And I'm confused, when is the show going to be? The Zappafest?
yes. So the show is going to be Saturday, December 11th.
Wow. Coming up.
Yeah, it's coming up for sure. Hey, Ike's coming. I got his plane tickets, and I got him and Hank's plane tickets, as well as their hotel room. So they better come. Somebody.
Make sure the plane tickets say his full legal name.
Isaiah Hosea Willis.
Right.
Of course.
Because he missed a Zappanala one year. He didn't show up. I think it was 2007, or was it 2009? Anyways, it was one of those. And he missed the plane because they were like, wait, the passport control was like, your name's not Ike, it has to be, and so he didn't go to the Zappanala because of that misunderstanding. So just make sure, the plane ticket says it's so weird, right? Because I call myself Dot, but my legal name is Dorothy. And it's like, you don't know that Dot means Dorothy. Like, you don't know that Ben means Benjamin. You don't know that Ike means,
Yeah.
Whatever. I hope he gets there.
Dorothy was my grandmother's name, so that's a very lovely name.
Everybody's grandmom's my grandmother was called Dorothy. That's where I got the damn name, but everybody called her Dot, so everybody called me Dot. Plus Dot is easier to spell. And
yeah.
And as you know, Frank Zappa gave me the name Dr. Dot, so there's that.
That you're stuck with it for life, then.
Poor me.
It works for your profession as well. Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why we have Hank Woods, Ike's manager. He always gives me all of Ike's proper credentials, names, addresses, so that I can get him his proper transportation, flight, et cetera, et cetera. Like I said, we've done this twice now, so every year it's gotten easier for us.
Is Denise coming too?
Yes. Wait, well, I'm sorry, what?
Is his wife coming too, or does she have to stay and work?
don't think Denise is coming with, unfortunately. But Hank will be there to make sure everything goes smoothly for Ike and whatnot. But yeah, Saturday, December 8th in Milwaukee.
Yeah,
It
I
will
thought you
be
just said 11th.
what did I say? I'm sorry. December 11th, Saturday, December.
You just said the 8th.
I'm sorry. I meant to say 8 p.m. start time.
Okay.
December 11th, 8 p.m. start time. We have two opening acts. Paulette Dalmore is doing a solo acoustic set of freak out era Zappa stuff. And then there's a band called the Swivels, which is made up of members of previous Zappafest bands, and they do a whole collection of stuff. And then my band, Gazort and Platt, with Ike, will perform two sets. We're going to do one kind of shorter set, little break, then one longer set. If you need to find out more information about this, if you go to Facebook and type in Milwaukee Zappafest XXIII, which we know is the Roman numerals for 23, you will find the event page. The photo features a mid-80s Ike with a plastic gun next to Frank, so you can't miss it. It's the only Milwaukee Zappafest you're going to find on Facebook, but it will give you some more
in the description of this video too. I'll put a link to your Facebook page, and then I'll post it in our Zappa group on Facebook. And I'll do a lot of promoting. And what about in Illinois, in Chicago? There's a huge Zappa fan there, John Kaminsky. You know him?
I sure do. John's a pretty cool guy. We met a few years back. I think we met prior to me bringing Ike here. There's a gal down there named Jenna. She's also part of a Zappa fan page in Chicago.
Yeah, I've seen her. I saw the one post she did where she said, "Oh, it was great seeing everybody except Scott Tunis." Like, fuck you, Scott Tunis, because apparently after the King Crimson show, she went to the bar close by and met everybody, and everybody was really friendly, but Scott was like rude to her, so she let it be known, and I thought that was really ballsy.
But I've never met him.
She's
but
gorgeous.
I did see her and John at that Zappa band King Crimson show in Milwaukee. So yeah, John's a really cool guy. He also is a pretty good artist too. I don't know if you ever seen some of the Zappa art he does, but
yeah, he posts it in the Zappa group and on Facebook and stuff. Yeah, we've known each other for a long time. He's a really big, dedicated Zappa fan. So I'm hoping he's going to be at your Zappa Fest.
He's been there before. I expect him there this year. Yeah, John's a great guy. I mean, just, it's something that the whole Zappa fan universe is just, it's deep and it's rich. And the more you get immersed in it, just the more fun life seems, because when you meet people who love Frank Zappa on the levels like you and John and myself do, it's great, because we know how much.
But I can't even make it to the grocery store most days. I'm so busy. But someday I'll
already in your time, and it's more quality over quantity, right? As far as getting out nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to say another thing. One thing that I think you could learn from what not to do, like the Zappanella does, in my opinion, at the Zappanella, they should have a list of all of Frank's songs, and nobody should be able to do the same song twice in one day. So they have, like, I don't know, 15 cover bands all playing Zappa music, and you hear Dynamo hum like 15 times. I think that someone needs to come in charge and say, look, here's the grab bag of Frank songs. Everybody pick the songs you want to do and don't fucking duplicate them, because it gets tedious for the audience.
It's good that you said that, because every year all the bands usually check in and just to see who's doing what. And we really do try. For many years, my band never touched certain songs because we knew that one of the other bands was doing it every year.
Right.
There's a band called Dr. Chow that played every Zappa Fest up until this year. Some of them will be performed individually, but they had a certain set list. And even though we liked those songs, we weren't going to touch them, so every now and again there might have been like a song lap over or something like that, but at the very least, if there was, they were never performed in the same vein. But even that being said, we always tried to make sure that that didn't happen.
I mean, you just have to imagine that it's there's so many albums and so many songs.
Right.
It's you don't need to do the same fucking songs, you know, like why not do Truck Driver Divorce? Why not do, you know, Envelopes or whatever? Just why does it always have to be the greatest hits or something? You know, that's boring. And by the way, speaking of the word Zappafest, before I even heard of you or knew you, back in 2007, I was hanging out with Wolfhard Kutz and his son, and they were begging me, because I speak fluent German, begging me, and English, obviously, to contact Gail and beg her to call off the dogs to stop giving them shit. So I was trying to be a peacemaker, and I was emailing Gail and Dweezil. I still have the emails to prove it. And I said, you know, I was trying to get them to get along, and they were like, no, they're breaking all the rules. They're not paying the fucking royalties or whatever. They really did not like the Zappa Nala. However, I'm very good friends with Wolfhard and his son, Christian. So I was trying my best to. And I also said to Dweezil and Gail, I said, I have another idea. I swear, I have the email. I can show it to you. Why not make something called Zappafest, sort of like Ozfest, and have it travel around the world nonstop, and have obviously Zappa Play Zappa headline, if that's what you want, and then have all the other bands that open for Zappa Play Zappa, you know, local Zappa tribute bands and so on. Just call it Zappafest. And they were like, well, I'll put this idea up to Gail. Dweezil wrote back and goes, but I, you know, I'll let her speak on that. So I had this idea a long time ago that instead of Ozfest, it should be Zappafest. And, you know, you could have other artists that are like, you know, in the Zappa vein, the String Cheese Incident and so on, and me, Alice Cooper or whatever. And so it's when you wrote to me and I saw this word Zappafest, I was like, that looks familiar. So I'm really glad that you founded this and that you're taking it on as your own and running with it. And someday when the world gets back to normal, if it ever fucking does, you know, why not tour? And I mean, of course, you're going to have to deal with the Zappa Family Trust, aka fucking Joe Travers, who I'm not a fan of.
I keep up on your page, and I appreciate the information you've disclosed, because it's made me aware of things I was completely unaware of.
Yeah.
And it helps connect some dots
Yeah.
into some areas that otherwise seemed like, why is, but no, I think all your
I say stuff that people are afraid to say. I say stuff that the alumni can't say. And you know, if people don't want to hear it, they don't have to listen. But I love the Zappa kids, and I think they should all get along. And I just think there's a common denominator in there where they can't get along. And you know who I'm talking about. I just think that's weird that someone who runs the Zappa Vault should be in any of the bands involving any of the Zappa kids. I think if he wasn't involved, they'd get along. And by the way, there's a lot of Zappa footage that we want to see, like home videos that Don Preston was talking about, that Frank filmed, and videos that Ike Willis was talking about where Frank filmed coming to his house in Missouri and so on. And, you know, the Vault won't let them be, and therefore, you know, not a big fan. And I just hope that the Zappa Family Trust doesn't come after you someday, because you're doing this for the love of the music, and that's what Frank wanted.
Yeah, you know, well, first off, I think that idea for a touring Zappa Fest would have been great. That's a really, yeah, I wish I would have took off. It could have, it had
I'll forward you the email. It's from 2007.
Yeah, okay. But no, seriously, like I said, I appreciate everything that you do as far as, you know, keeping, you know, the fan base educated and up to date with certain things, because, you know, all the things that control the Zappa estate, as well as like everything that's kind of put out there. I mean, we only know so much as fans, you know, and there's people like you who know people from within. So, you know, like I appreciate that information, because, you know, just from a more distant perspective, like, yeah, I'm wondering, like, okay, like that 88 albums, that last 88 performance is pretty good album, but yeah, why why are there 2 tracks missing? Why are the 2
Joe
Diesel
Travers doesn't like Joe Travers doesn't like Dweezil. Suddenly, Joe Travers used to play with Zappa with Dweezil. Zappa plays Zappa, and then they all hated on Amit, and now suddenly Joe Travers plays with Amit, and now they're all hating on Dweezil. Plus, Joe Travers knows I don't like him, so he conveniently cut off the track I was in. Remember A Few Moments with Brother Ray West, where my burps are on the '88 tour, you know? When you hear The Best Band You've Never Heard in Your Life, you can hear me burping on the track A Few Moments with Brother A West. That was dropped from the recent release. Those are my burps. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Edman, I burped accidentally during the Portland, Maine sound check in '88. I burped from the front row. There was just a couple of me and a couple of Zappa fans. And I can burp really, really loud. Like I accidentally burped during my Don Preston podcast just now, but I burped really long, loud, and Frank stopped the music and turned around and said, "Who did that?" And I was like, well, they all ratted me out. The other 4, they were like, her. I'm like, I'm really sorry. He goes, come here. And I thought he was going to scream at me. And he's like, no, come up on the stage. He goes, can you do that again? I go, I need a Diet Coke. He goes, well, get her a Coke. I go, well, it's got to be Diet. Get her a Diet Coke. So the whole band is waiting for me to, build up some burps. And I burped into Edman's Sinclair or whatever that thing's called. And then they used my burps for the rest of the tour. So, Joe Travers cut Dweezil's 2 songs, Stairway to Heaven, and what was the other one? He cut his 2 songs off. And then he cut off A Few Moments with Brother Way West. So and I asked Dweezil about it, and he's like, I have no control over what the Zappa Family Trust does anymore. So it wasn't me. He didn't ask for his track to be removed. Joe Travers removed it. So, and anyone who's getting money from, that little situation, that little bubble, they're of course going to take Joe Travers' side because, they're not, and they get pissed off when I'm spewing out the truth, but too fucking bad. That's it. You know what I mean?
And the line is so big,
I know. I really don't care. Come at me, bro. Like he's never played. Joe Travers is not a Frank Zappa alumni. He's never played with Frank, yet he's pulling all the strings. I don't understand how the fuck that happened. He was, he has too much control. And I think that Dweezil and Amit should get along. Life is short. You know what I mean? And the hate, like I said, it's just think about it. When Joe Travers was playing with Dweezil, everyone was hating on Amit. And now Joe Travers is playing with Amit, they're all hating on Dweezil. Like, what is the common denominator there? You don't have to be fucking Einstein to figure it out. You know what I mean? Yeah. You should have someone mutual or neutral running the vote, not someone who's playing with the Zappa kids. Like, obviously, it's biased,
Playing sides, if anything,
exactly.
You might pin them against each other and just
conquer and divide.
Yeah.
Conquer and divide. And I really do think that Dweezil should come back on tour. And by the way, I'm not sure if you know this, but Zappa Plays Zappa was Amit's idea. He's the one who came up with the idea. He came to Dweezil and he said, Amit, long time ago, he said he felt like they were having distance between each other. He came to Dweezil and said, let's do this together, this project. And they all agreed, and they, started to do press and go on tour, a publicity tour to promote it. And then suddenly Amit's children's book tour dates came out, and they collided with the first Zappa Plays Zappa tour dates. And Amit said to Dweezil, hey, could we postpone it? And, this is going to clash with my book tour dates. And Dweezil said, no, we better not, because we're going to get a lot of fines. We shouldn't do that. So Dweezil went and carried on and did the tour without Amit. And then it's been like, so Joe Travers had to pick a side. So he picked Dweezil's, and everyone was like, meow, against Amit, which was a pity. I don't like any hate amongst any of them. All 4 of them should get along, And then, and now look what happened. I think Joe Travers had to go to Brazil or something. He missed one of the Zappa Plays Zappa tours. And Dweezil was like, replaced him. And so Joe got to stick up his ass and chose Team Amit. And now that's how it is, And I just don't understand how he has so much control over Frank's videos and music and all that other shit. It's really weird to me. So
yeah, that's very fascinating that Amit was a part of the Zappa Plays Zappa from early on. And it's really, who knows what would have happened if the book wouldn't have came out at the same time and they did get to tour together. Maybe
it would have been fantastic, but then again, they did have that band Z a long time ago, with Ahmet and Dweezil, and Joe Travers was on drums. And huh?
I have a CD. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
Shit.
that then. They were pretty good, and but they weren't no commercial potential. I mean, for crying out loud, you can barely make any money with Zappa music. You know what I mean? Like, it was literally, that's why he wrote a book called No Commercial Potential. A record company told Frank, you have no commercial potential. So that's why he wrote the book. And nobody's in it for the money with Zappa music to make money. You just fucking can't. You can't.
No.
You can't.
No.
So anyone who's supporting Zappa music at this point is literally for the love of the fucking music, So nobody should be suing anyone and this and that. They should be happy when Zappa cover bands are around. Can you imagine if Paul McCartney sued every fucking Beatles tribute band that was playing Beatles music? That's ridiculous. Let the tribute bands go. Let the festivals happen. This brings more attention to Zappa's music, which in turn will radiate, record sales or CD sales, whatever, for the Zappa Family Trust. So if they come at you, we'll do a hell of a lot of promotion about that.
Well, thank you. And I should hope that I don't draw the ire of anybody, because, we don't make any money from Zappafest. We actually spend a good amount of money putting it together. It's for the love of Frank, and in this case, in more recent times, it's been because, in addition to the love of Ike. And this especially because, our friend needs us now more than ever. And
I'm surprised that more, Zappa alum like Mike Keneally, for example, who got $30,000 for his GoFundMe last winter. Why can't he throw Ike, a couple $100? And people said, you shouldn't do that. You should. No, I should do that. They should help Ike. He, is dying and he needs his medication. So why not throw a brother a bone? You know what I'm saying? And I know Zappa tribute bands, especially Project Objects and the Muffin Men and so on, they never made a lot of money. That's why you see Don Preston carrying his own fucking keyboards after a Project Object gig. They don't have roadies. They don't get to stay in hotels and all that. None of them make money except for maybe Steve Vai or Chad Wackerman, maybe Adrian Belew, but nobody's wealthy. They're in it for the love of the music.
Right. They're not living off of their time with Frank.
No, nobody has a pension or something. Nobody got royalties. Nobody got royalties at all. At all. Right. There just wasn't enough stew in the pot or whatever. That's their business. But and Frank wasn't a billionaire either.
He spent so much money putting out his own music. He was. For a music fan, how could you not love Frank Zappa? He's taken everything he had and given it back. Put out so many albums at such a high clip, and they're all fun and unique and individual. He wasn't for the money either. So
it's just, he obviously, you need a place to live and you need some food and so on, but they're not greedy bastards. They're not like Kiss. For example, selling like Frank Zappa refrigerators and all weird shit. So I hope I will help promote your Zappafest, and hopefully someday I'll get there. I am alone with a 9-year-old boy. Otherwise I'd be there. I
would love to have any that you can make it out to the Midwest.
I've been to Wisconsin before. I saw the Grateful Dead there. I used to follow the Grateful Dead. No, I was the only sober one following the Grateful Dead. I was massaging the Grateful Dead on tour, seeing all their shows for free, and they played at Alpine Valley. So I've been to Alpine Valley, Wisconsin. It was gorgeous.
Yeah, they would play Alpine for weekends. Yeah, they would always come around there. That's cool. Well, if you ever came back, we would definitely treat you as one of our own and introduce you to our fine barley pops and grilled meats that we have available, as well as our fine cheeses.
I love it.
The show is $20.
That's nothing.
The venue is, it's spacious, but it's going to sell out. So get there early. And if for any reason you can't get in, just go to the event page.
You can suck cock and get in backstage like Mary did, right?
Well, right over here we have Charlena. Charlene was our mascot last year. She'll probably be joining us this year too. But yeah, she can join Mary on the bus as well. The bus is nice and warm. That's where the heart is,
On the bus.
the bus.
I'm really surprised that Ike is coming, and he's so humble and down low about it. He hasn't been bragging about it or anything. So I'm going to have to do that for him and get people's attention to A, tune in and contribute, or B, show up and contribute. It would be great.
We had to plan things in stages this year. The first thing was, can we do this again for another live audience? Once we realized that was possible, we said, okay, can we get Ike back? And that was around the time that there was some progress reports. So I was cautiously optimistic. I reached out to Hank Woods, and Hank gave a green light to it. I followed up with a message to Ike personally, and Ike said, yes, I'm ready, and it's awesome that he's been able to do some performances as of late. He's made some really cool cameos, get back in the saddle and get back to proper form so that when we have him, he's all ready to go.
I have a nice comfy chair on stage.
Oh, we try to accommodate. We know he likes good support in his bottom regions. We try to accommodate. We try to accommodate as much as well as we can in the friendly Wisconsin fashion that we are.
Yeah. Oh, that was a weak one. Anyways, John. Well, I don't have any fizzy water. This is just tap water put in here, but if I get the bubbles in them, Anyways, John, it was so nice talking to you, and I hope it's not going to be the last time. And reach out anytime you need some promotion and so on.
I super appreciate that. You're awesome. Thank you for everything that you do. Love your podcast and everything. Love your energy and your sense of humor, and obviously your love for Frank Zappa and everything that he's done, as well as all his offspring, such as our friend Ike Willis. So
yes, they are his extended family, aren't they? We got to take care of them.
Exactly. So thank you again so much.
If you ever come to the Jersey area, give me a holler.
I'm actually out there every now and then. I'm a traveling musician, so I'll let you know next time I'm out there.
All right, great, John. I'll see you on Facebook.
Awesome. Hope you get to one Zappafest too.
Oh yeah, I will be there. I'll play Mary for you, so you better practice.
Woo.
Good night, hon.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Bye.